Ever watched Julio Cesar Chavez? One of the greatest of all time.
He passed
One of the greatest
away?
of all time. No, he's still alive.
Oh, good.
And his son is boxing now. His son is a really good boxer. Not at the level that his dad was, but Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. was one of the all-time greats.
Legitimizes him if he beats Chavez Jr. I don't think so.
No.
Jake Paul, is not a boxer. You know, it's a spectacle. The Tyson event was sort of demeaning for the sport of boxing.
Speaking about the impending battle between Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Joe Rogan claimed that because Jake began as a YouTuber, people don't take him seriously. It's impressive that Jake knocked out a former UFC champion with one punch, he said, even though he doesn't think the fight is a good idea. Rogan went on to say that nobody can actually stop it from occurring right now.
If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's f***ing for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
What's the latest with the Mike Tyson, Logan? Was it Logan Paul or
Jake?
Jake Paul.
Jake's the really good
Tell
boxer.
me about.
I'm fascinating because it's going to happen and there's nothing I can do to stop it from happening.
Do you want to stop it from
I
happening?
do not necessarily think it's a good idea for 57-year-old men to be fighting 27-year-old men. A 27-year-old me fought a 57-year-old Mike Tyson. Yeah, he'd beat the fucking shit out of me. It'd be quick. But a 27-year-old Jake Paul, who can box and has very good power, and he's very fast, and he's young. He's going to be smaller than Mike. Mike will probably weigh 230 pounds-ish, and Jake will probably weigh 200 pounds-ish. He's fought, I think he got as low as like 187 or 185 for some of his fights. He's a big guy, though, and he probably cuts weight to get there, and he won't cut weight for this at all, so maybe he will be similar in weight. Maybe he won't want to be because he'll want the speed. But he can knock people dead.
While acknowledging that Julio Cesar Chavez was a brilliant fighter, Joe Rogan underlines that he is considerably older and is retired. Rogan claims that Chavez's age is evident in the ring, and that he can no longer sustain a full 3-minute round. He notes that Chavez didn't appear fit or sharp even in recent exhibition matches. The legend's time is up, and this battle may not be the best course of action, Rogan said.
He's like, I want this fight to go. He goes, I want to get him tired. And he goes, and I have much more of a chance to get him tired if he's fighting 3-minute rounds. He's like, we're grown men. And I guess the WBC was pointing to Julio Cesar Chavez. I think had a boxing exhibition recently. I think it was Chavez. It was some legend that was retired that had a boxing exhibition recently.
Regardless of what detractors say, Jake Paul continues to draw enormous audiences, making him one of boxing's most divisive characters. Among contemporary boxing personalities, he has an unrivaled capacity to attract attention. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is his opponent. Fans who are fed up with Jake's antics hope that this is the time that he has finally humbled since the stakes feel bigger. It's a crescendo of narrative tension that viewers want to have resolved inside the ring. And it's more than just a bout.
Able to fight, and he's taking this far more serious, and he's not struggling with addiction issues like he has for so long in his pro career. This fight does become a little bit of a dangerous one for Jake, not because Chavez Jr. is in his prime anymore. He's still going to be a shell of that early 20s Julio Cesar Chavez. But with 60 wins under his belt, if there is still any of that muscle memory left, there's still any go left in his body, because again, I hate to keep referring to it, doing drugs or having addiction issues does take its toll on your body, and sometimes it isn't recoverable, especially as you're going up in weight. Julio Cesar Chavez is not a normal cruiserweight, so he's going to be moving up as he gets older. How does that entail what he's going to do in this fight? I don't know, but I'll tell you, I watched him ringside against Uriah Hall, and it wasn't an impressive performance when he beat Uriah Hall in a 6-round fight. Honestly, when I watched the fight back, it looked like the only reason he beat Uriah Hall in that fight was because Uriah, like most MMA fighters, when they come to boxing, don't take credence of the rule set, right? They get hit with a ton of shots that don't hurt them, but also they're getting hit with shots that are scoring against them. Uriah Hall didn't look overwhelmed in that fight at all. In fact, he looked like he was in the fight with Chavez Jr. And that in its own right is pretty damning, because while he won the fight, that was Uriah Hall's first boxing match ever. And Uriah was not a young guy at that point either. The point I'm making with all this is I get what Jake is doing here, and fair play to him. Again, you do have to remember Jake didn't have an amateur career.
Questioned about Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Manny Pacquiao provided a realistic perspective. He admitted that in the end, it will depend on how the judges evaluate Jake's performance in the ring, but he doubted that, in Pacquiao's opinion. Jake could really prove himself by defeating someone like Julio Jr., more than simply well-known. Names are necessary for boxing recognition. Performances that demonstrate genuine talent and competitive merit are also necessary.
Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. If Jake Paul were to win that fight, do you think it legitimizes him as a boxer?
It's hard to comment on that fight, but it's happened that way. It's up to the fans how they analyze it and how they judge it.
But from Hall of Famer Manny Pacquiao's opinion, do you think it legitimizes him if he beats Chavez Jr.?
I don't think so.
Paul has said unequivocally that he no longer seeks out fleeting viral moments, targeting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., even if he is beyond his best. As part of his plan to establish himself as a serious contender in the boxing world, his name is significant. Jake thinks that defeating someone with a reputable boxing background will change perceptions and establish him as a legitimate opponent in the sport. It's a part of his larger effort to be seen as a true warrior, as well as a celebrity.
Got a former champion sitting over here to the left with a big name. Does this signal to the boxing world that you're looking to get back on that championship path, the pursuit of a world title?
Yeah, look, I always said it. I'm going to fight really tough people, and I'm going to fight big money fights. You know, this is prize fighting. And so I'm giving the fans what they want with every single fight, taking on tougher opponents, and this is just that.
I can't help but notice it's a cruiserweight fight. The co-main event is a cruiserweight world title. If you look just to your right, there are two belts sitting there on the stage. Is it at all in your mind, if you beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., that a matchup with that man, Zurdo Ramirez, might not be far behind?
Yeah, 100%, man. This is what I came here to do, is become world champion and to create one of the greatest sports stories the world has ever seen. Going from Disney Channel to YouTube to world champion in 6 to 7 years, that's the most relatable and best sports story that any kid can get behind, and that's what I'm here to do, is inspire the next generation and do what no one's ever done before in the world's hardest sport, which is boxing.
You faced some hostile environments in the past, the Nate Diaz fight being one of them, but this might be the most hostile you've walked into. Southern California, 2 Mexicans on the card. What do you think about fighting in this type of atmosphere?
Man, the Mexicans love me, bro. Like, I'm stepping into my home environment. They love me more than they love this guy. You know, Mexico doesn't even claim him, so that's just the way it is. And I love my Mexican fans, and they've always been rocking with me since day one. And I'm gonna show him who the real Mexican warrior is.
Aram's critique stems from the legitimacy issue. He feels that because Julio's getting close to 40 and is no longer an active boxer, this bout lacks competitive credibility. Aram claims that rather than being a real fight, the fight feels more like an exhibition. He questioned if Jake is truly attempting to go up the boxing hierarchy, or whether he is simply choosing opponents with well-known names, but lacking skill. He believes it is too soon to declare Jake a true boxer unless he competes against someone up-to-date and proven.
Jake Paul is not fighting a real fighter. That's not even boxing. I mean, Chavez Jr., you know, should have hung up. I thought he had hung up the gloves a long time ago. Jake Paul is not a boxer. You know, it's a spectacle. The Tyson event was sort of demeaning for the sport of boxing. I mean, Tyson was an old man, and what are we talking about? But again, if Netflix or somebody else wants to pay for that event, so, I mean, that's fine, but I have no interest in it. I have absolutely no interest in a Jake Paul Chavez Jr. fight because it's not boxing.
In contrast to Jake's previous rivals, Julio has a wealth of expertise. His experience in actual boxing matches is seen by both coaches and experts as a natural advantage. Robert Garcia highlights the importance of Julio's veteran instincts and ring IQ. The war will rely on the use of simple, yet powerful tactics, rather than on glitz or publicity. Julio doesn't need to do anything extra if he's feeling well. Just do what he normally does.
I love Chavez.
I fucking love that dude. He's cool as fuck. I love that dude.
He's gonna win.
Okay, if he wins, what does it say?
Nothing. Chavez gonna win.
What does that say if he beats Jake Paul?
Not much. Just a good win. A lot of millions of dollars, and then maybe do a rematch, which is bad. Make a lot of money.
According to Oscar De La Hoya, Julio is preparing differently this time. He has commended Julio for maintaining his composure and treating the battle with gravity. According to De La Hoya, this is an opportunity to bring back respect in boxing, not simply a spectacle. Julio is there to make a point and challenge himself, not to be paid. Jake may finally be getting into a bout where he loses control of the script, according to De La Hoya.
The expectations
A lot of
and
pressure,
then, the pressure, and he got involved with drugs and this and that, and he seems like he's doing better and he's doing good, and I've seen him train lately. I've talked to the father, and he says, look, if my son shows up to the ring the way I've seen him in the last few months, I think he said like last 6-7 months, he goes, yeah, he's gonna knock out Jake Paul.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, I'm sure a lot of people would love to watch that and see that. So, don't miss the fight.
Yeah.
June 28th. It's going to be crazy. No, it is. I mean, because Jake Paul actually has... It's not that he has something to prove, but he actually can prove something here. Chavez Jr. went the distance with Canelo, right? In Canelo's prime. And so imagine if Jake Paul knocks out Chavez Jr., then what?
Cesar Chavez Jr. has made it clear that he is not only going to win, but also that he wants to stop Jake Paul from disrespecting boxing legends. Fans and former champions have grown weary of Jake calling out retired greats. Chavez sees this fight as a chance to confidently and purposefully silence the noise. He thinks he can stop Jake and bring honor back to a sport that has been disparaged.
I respect all the fighters in general, but I don't have nothing significant to respect Jake, a good fighter. He's a real fighter. I think so. He's a fighter now. He have 11 fights, but that's it. It's nothing special. He's strong. That's it.
Do you think he respects you?
In what way? I don't understand.
At the press conference, he was trying to get under your skin a little bit, and he's known to do that, right? He tries to trash talk. He was talking to your father and all that, and so I was wondering if you felt disrespected or upset about anything that he said in the press conference.
Yes, a little bit disrespect, because he's supposed to try to enter to a real boxing, That's why he started me, because I'm ex-world champion. So he speak too much trash, and try to sell the fight, but I don't hear that things, I don't know. Jake is good for that, for promote fights and these things, but I really want to find out if it's good in boxing for real.
So a lot of people who have fought Jake have tried to sort of, as I said, end Jake Paul, end all of this. They don't like that he's in boxing. Is that a motivation for you to knock him out so that he says, I don't want to do this anymore, so you could be the one to say you got Jake Paul out of fighting?
Yes.
It could happen. This dude.
I don't trust that guy. I don't trust Chavez.
Yeah,
You're nothing like your daddy.
Yo, you just alienated. You say I don't trust that guy.
I don't. It's like, bro, I don't trust you, man. Just we seen too much of that quitting you.
He's got the quirky, the ugly stuff that'll get you by.
Chavez?
Yeah.
He still has a left hook for 2 rounds.
You said 2 rounds?
Yeah,
That's it?
It's fresh for 2 rounds. After that, the problem with Chavez Jr., if Chavez Jr. just showed up and let his balls hang and committed to it and just let his hands go, but even at his best, he didn't let his hands go a whole lot. But if he did, he could win this fight.
Yeah.
But he won't. That's not who he is. He has no confidence anymore. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The minute he also loses so much steam after 2 rounds. He's kind of like Mike Tyson in a lot of ways. He loses steam after a round and a half. He has a left hook that you still have to be. It keeps you honest. You do have to worry about that left hook, especially early.
Yeah.
But like he just has no confidence anymore. The minute things start going south, the minute he gets touched, he just
looking for out.
Even if he's not, I think in this fight he'll, like Zab Judah used to do sometimes. He'll take his beating, but he won't let his hands go. And
I'm gonna speak a truth. I think this is my truth, and I'm just speaking candidly. You got a kid that's spoiled.